Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night, wherever you may be on this stamp collecting world and on this stamp collecting journey that we are all on. And if you're not, and you're thinking about, beginning a bit of a collection, I recommend it. It's good for the mind, body, and spirit. Not necessarily the finances, but you know what I mean. So, what have we got today? Well, we start off with a little cartoon that I've done, basically, to do with stamp collecting. So we've got the usual suspects here: Adolphe the mouse, cup of tea, boy tossing a coin, and George maybe is at the post office counter saying, "I've started a new collection," and they're not really interested, are they? And Doris is saying it's him again. But I know you want to talk about stamps, or you want me to warble on them and show you maybe some of the stamps. So I have started a new collection today. By that I mean I've gone back into the box of tricks and begun, if that's a word, 3 new countries, European countries. I was tempted with Africa, but I'm sticking to Europe at the minute, simply because the previous collection, or the previous collections I've been doing from the boxes, are all European countries. So I've come to the end of those particular countries, which we'll go through in a minute. And what I'll do now is show you how I've begun. It's the beginning of the beginning. So we're just starting. I've just had 20 minutes this morning. Oh, this is filthy. Gathering. These get everywhere, don't they? Gathering what I thought would be, what I decided would be 3 new countries, and these are the ones I've decided on. And though this is in alphabetical order, I've started the new collection at the front of the album, of the file, I should say. So the first country is Switzerland. I may add a bit of blurb there, but I'll show you the stamps that I picked out from simply the pinch. And this was a nice one to begin with, a 1909 William Tell holding the crossbow of his father, William Tell's son, I should say, and William Tell being a great, great hero of Switzerland. I think he fought to keep Switzerland's independent of Austria. I think so. Austria being the big power of the time. Correct me if I'm wrong. 20 Helvetia, or is it Helvetia? 1970. Here we have again the universal symbol of stamps, the postal service, I should say. We've got the post rider, or the post horn. He's blowing the post horn. All these, by the way, I've mounted on card, and they're behind, the plastic sleeves. We go down, and we've got Genève, so a council that I fancied, which is different to Geneva, and it's a 1949 stamp, quite lovely. And then this one, 1973 housing, sort of native housing, if you will. And then the 1960 Helvetia Zurich building. These are on paper. So I haven't tried to get the paper off. I decided not to soak them, simply to put them on the card. And this is the beginning, so eventually I'll add, as this fills up, I'll try and keep the old, that sort of 1900s to, say, 1930s across there, and just fill in the gaps. Not sure yet. I then decided on Romania, or Romana, or Romania. I wasn't able to find any information about this, apart from it's a daffodil, and it is a map stamp. I could not get the year, though. How is the year on the... No. What it will do in time is it'll give me a clue because of the 15. So when I find more and more of the 15s, then it'll give me more of a clue. Here we have a 1955 to 56 definitive. which I think are some of the most common stamps that I've got of Romania, buildings and Posta Romana. And that are the only two that I found from that pinch. And then we go to Polska, or Poland. And these are quite sweet. Modern, obviously, here, 1975, a nice tree. First class, by the look of it. Or is it a one, whatever the zlots could be. 1974, so we go back here. These are 2 strawberries. So I've got strawberry plants in the back. I'm waiting for some sort of netting to cover them over, because last year the birds totally ate them all. I never had one. Yeah, I like a strawberry patch. 2005, this is a Sopot pier. So I think this is a reservoir or a lake, and there's a pier that goes out, and it's 2 zlots, or 20, 2 zlots 20. And then we got back down to 1957 of Vladislav Oxko. Don't know who he is. Stamp is a bit butchered, really. There's crease there, and etc. But it's worthy of. These are all arts and crafts stamps. They're worth something to me. I hesitate now because I've been told off. Stamps that every stamp has value, just like every coin has value. 1965, bizarrely a Greek, an early Greek vessel, sailing vessel, is being celebrated in Poland, in Polska. Triera Galeriga Greca WPNE. Don't know what any of that means, but it's a 1965 stamp. And then we've got Poczta Polska, so we've got the postal word there. Poczta Polska. Gdansk Shipyard, where Lech Wałęsa worked, but this probably not in 1952, but he may have done. So that's quite nice, a big old ship there. And then we have another sailing vessel. This is a yacht, I believe. And it's from 1966. The sun is shining. All very nice. So we've come to the end of the others. So in alphabetical order, we'll just quickly go through. I decided to keep this page all square. So no order. But I wanted to keep sort of the older ones together if I could. And also the kings have a little section there. Well, there were so many of the kings that I'd run out of room and had to go on to the next page, which becomes more messy. But I decided to keep these in some sort of order. I was becoming disciplined, though less disciplined there. But it soon became higgledy-piggledy. Only managed to find 4 birds. 4. Good old King Leopold II there, 1906. That's quite a nice stamp. So again, there's some nice Belgian stamps out there. Modern King, Bedouin Son, I think. So that's quite nice. And then the bigger ones started to appear, which I must say I have less interest in. I prefer the historic ones to the, pretty pictures one. But that's just me. To each his own. So that was Belgium. I think I may have one more page. Yeah, I went back to the old ones. I was getting more and more of the old stamps, so I stuck them all together. We then go to Czechoslovensko. You remember that I did a bit of a blurb about the history of the country, which was only in existence from 1918 to 1993. So it gives you a chance, doesn't it, to sort of to focus. Even though most of these would fall in under that category as well. By that I mean the stamps that I've got. It sort of, you know what I mean. It is what it is. So we got quite a lot of smallish Czech stamps. I do like the figures in them, the people. I mean, that's nice, isn't it? 1954. 1953 nurse. So they were talking about, what the people were doing, the jobs that they had, security and the like. but also there was some nice, they had some cracking little splashes of colour in them, which I found attractive, especially the reds. You know, there's another one there. There's a splash of colour. So I found the check stamps really nice. And of course we've got that brute. We saw him yesterday. Martin Luther, that is, and other people. Then I went over to Era. I did have this started anyway, independently of this collection. Birds again, always popular. Railways as well. And then I discovered this and decided to add it to the mix. It may have to go though. I don't think it fits in, but on the other side, this does. France showed up. Not too many of those though, because I've got a big old French collection. Greece, again, a bit of a history going on here. You know, when the stamps were first issued in 1861. You got to love all the old Greek tales. Zeus and Olympia and Philip of Macedon and yeah, the Red Cross charity tax then, 1937. Queen Sophie. So these I found. King George I. We had 6. We had 5, 6 of them. Also the overprints of Thrace. So the Greek ones were, you know, they tended to focus on their history rather than birds and plants and rocks and things. Sand and hills and rings. Pharos. Hungary, a lot of stamps were coming out from Hungary. But thankfully, they tended to be sort of the older ones. And for example, these were, what were these? 1921, 24, a lot of them. But also up to 1958, 1947 here, these were pretty much all over the place as well. This is my dating. And then further on I decided not to ignore them anymore. You can't ignore them in the end. The big old stamps of stuff like hawk moth, plants, big things. Football, horses, yeah, not my favourite. I prefer the old ones, if I'm honest. And then towards the end of the collection, as came to the end of the box, any spares I was just sticking on as well. Yeah, Italia, I've got a couple of minutes. So Italia, I mean, I don't have to tell you about them. They're pretty much, as you see them, only 4 pages of those. 4.5 maybe. A couple of gaps still there, which as I come across them I'll just load onto them. And then finally, the and finally moment, the Netherlands, the modern, I think this is the most modern of all the countries so far, the ones that are coming out. They went real modern and real, they're really different. You can tell the Netherlands one a mile away. They look more like dockets than they do stamps sometimes. You know, that could be sort of, wow, what's that? Yeah, is it a stamp? Is it not a stamp? The fact it's got 29 on it says it is. Messed that up a bit, but look at this here. You see the sort of priority thing there. Makes it annoying to begin with, but interesting towards the end. Also, I've loaded up a couple of early ones. 1880 from Leiden. 1886, Leiden. A couple of early queens there. And of course, just to fill in bits of gaps, the Julianas and you know, the definitives, the numbering ones, and I've got just those really. So that is the beginning of the beginning and the end of the beginning collection. If that makes any sense, I'm not sure. I think I'd better go to the post office and let everybody know that I've started a new collection. I'll talk to you very soon. Have a fantastic day, everyone. The sun's just come out here. Bit of wind. Temperature's a bit low, but I'm going to try and get some sun. Goodbye for now.